Thanks for joining me today for a new video. I'm going to be showcasing some adorable products from Avery Elle, and we're going to create a super sweet scene using the Rain and Shine stamp set. So I have both the stamps and the coordinating dies here, and we're going to be using images from the stamp set to create a really adorable scene. I'm starting off by taking images from the stamp set and lining them up inside of my stamping tool. Then I'll use Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink to stamp the images onto some white cardstock. This happens to be from Hammermill. This is a really nice smooth white cardstock that I've really enjoyed using for Copic marker coloring. And then I'm going to color the images with my Copics. Now if you don't have Copics or you don't prefer Copics, you could totally color these images with another coloring medium of your choice. Watercolors would look great, colored pencils, you name it, it's all up to you. So for my card, I'm using the frog and also this adorable bunny that has a frog umbrella. I mean, how cute is this? Now, because this is a rainy themed stamp set, there is a puddle, and of course we have to include that in the scene. So I'm going to color that with some blue markers. I'll also color the raindrops that are above the puddle with the same colors of blue. And if you're interested in the Copic colors that I use, I do have them linked below in the video description. I'm going to use a trio of yellows to color in the rain jacket on the bunny. And of course, he's going to have some adorable red boots because you can't have rain boots unless they're red, right? I used a couple of red shades for this, and then I just added a few extra details here and there, like a little bit of pink blush to his cheeks and his ears. Using some pixie tape, I'm going to hold down these dies that are coordinating with the stamp set, and that way they won't shift when I run this through my die cut machine. So I have all my images cut out with the coordinating dies, and we're ready to start assembling our scene. My first step is to die cut my panel. I'm using the new Simon Says Stamp A2 Marquee die. This is the next size down from the largest in that set. It creates these really cool dots around the edges of your panel. Then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. I wanted to use this no matter the weather, we're in this together sentiment, but it was too long for my project. So I'm going to rectify that by just simply cutting this stamp apart into 3 sections, and then that will allow me to stack these together to form the right size sentiment for this panel. And not to worry about cutting these apart, these will line back up together. Once you put them into a single line, these will piece back together so easily, you'll be able to use it as it was originally intended as well. So I'm going to stick this inside of my Misty tool, and I'll ink up the stamp with some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. Now you'll notice that the bottom line of the sentiment, I actually shifted over to the left a bit more than the rest of the greetings. They're not all centered. That bottom sentiment is a little bit more left justified, and that was so that way I could fit a tiny little heart in that little section next to that third line in the greeting. And I stamped that with blush ink. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the Seam Builder stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to use this as a grassy hill that's going to ground my scene. I needed to make sure I lined this up in a way that the images were going to be perfectly centered up on top of this hillside, and then I just masked off any areas that I don't want to get ink on my panel or through another part of the stencil. I'm using Simon Says Stamp Celery ink to go ahead and ink blend through the stencil to create a grassy hill. I'm using the small Simon Says Stamp blending brushes because I want to make sure I don't get ink in places that I don't want it. Further down along where the sentiment is, I want to keep the ink really contained along the top of this area. And I'll just use a slightly darker shade of ink in LIMELICIOUS to add a little bit of extra shading across the top of the hill. We'll remove the stencil, and that reveals that nice hilly area that we're going to be able to lay our images. I'm arranging them on my card and then using foam tape to attach them. So all of these pieces I will pop up because I did want a little bit of lift off of the background. And the foam tape that I'm using for this is from Scrapbook Adhesives. You'll notice a cute little cloud here. This cloud, believe it or not, was from a Halloween stamp set. I went looking through my stash to go find a cloud that was perfectly sized for this card. I had a lot of different cloud dies, but some of them were too big, not the right style. So I ended up digging through my stamps, and this Too Cute to Spook stamp set from Simon Says Stamp had the perfect size cloud. So look through your stash, you might find the perfect elements in some of the most random places. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of pattern paper. This is some yellow pattern paper I had in my stash, and I'm just going to put that on top of my A2 card base. Then this panel is going to get popped up right in the center of that pattern paper, and I love how the polka dots really go so well with that marquee frame. If you don't have this exact sheet of pattern paper, any yellow or polka dot themed paper would look really cute with this card. I'm going to pull in a few sequins. These are just some clear sequins, very small, and I'm using some Ultra Bond adhesive to attach these down. This will add just a little bit of sparkle around my images, and it also kind of simulates the look of rain falling. But I didn't want anything too distracting, so I like how these clear sequins just add a little bit of sparkle and kind of leave your focus still on the images in the front. So this card turned out so cute. I love how adorable these images are. And of course, the stamp set includes so many other different cute animals that have some darling rain gear on. So you don't have to use the exact images that I used from the stamp set. You could swap them out for something else. But I think this card would look so cute no matter what images you use from the stamp set. So I hope you were inspired today by this project. I thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of our future videos. I will see you again soon with more to share, but until I do, I hope everyone has a fabulous day. Bye!